Coming up on tonight's show, everyone already knows that Trump is building internment camps to house all the immigrants he's black-bagged, but fewer people are paying attention to the new forced labor camps popping up for the homeless. Does that mean they're forced to go into labor? Like give birth? Oh, working. Yep. Plus, more and more people seem to be losing their humanity, unable to even relate to fellow humans. New studies show the harm of living our entire lives in a false digital world. But the studies do acknowledge that that video of a horse trying to eat ice cream is pretty great. I mean, have you seen that one? It's totally worth losing your humanity over. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Unredacted tonight. I'm Lee Camp. The Trump administration has begun work on the first concentration camp for the homeless. I know there's some argument as to whether it will be a concentration camp, a labor camp, an internment camp, or a homeless shaming camp, but tomato, tomato. Trump signed an executive order called Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. And of course, the president has shown nothing but kindness and empathy for these individuals who have the least in our society. They are victims of a f***ed up system. And Donald understands that.
The homeless have no right to turn every park and sidewalk into a place for them to squat and do drugs. Americans should not have to step over piles of needles and waste as they walk down a street.
Yeah, they've turned every park into a goddamn toilet. Every park. Grand Canyon is just filled to the brim with hobo logs. That's all it is. And how the hell would Trump even know? He hasn't been to a park in 40 years. He hasn't been outside in 15, except to cheat at golf once a week. Trust me, he's not bumping into a lot of homeless at the golf resorts. I think this is Trump's imaginary view of what the real world is like out there. The world he hasn't touched in years is just drug addict poop up to your knees, people shooting heroin into their eyeballs, mentally ill non-white, people just running up and trying to touch your face. That's what he thinks every sidewalk is. What does the executive order say? Let's ask Howard Koh, professor of the practice of public health leadership at Harvard. He said the executive order adopts a short-term, largely punitive approach to address a long-term humanitarian crisis, while barely acknowledging the root causes that have led to thousands living on the streets. The executive order instead criminalizes the situation. Basically, we can put this problem in prison, which is awesome. Or technically labor camps, I guess. But you gotta love this idea. The homeless can't fight back. What kind of political power do they have? They don't have any congressmen in their pockets. A lot of them have holes in their pockets. Most of them can't even call their congressperson because they don't have a phone. It was stolen by a mischievous coyote a year ago. So sure, why not put them all in concentration camps? Construction of the first camp has begun in Utah, and it's especially ironic that this is starting in the one U.S. state to have nearly eradicated homelessness only 10 years ago. God, I love dystopian irony. Dystopany. You heard it here first. T-shirts available next week. So how did Utah eliminate chronic homelessness back in 2015? Did they lock up everyone in camps? Did they euthanize them, as Fox News has helpfully recommended?
And the homeless population, a lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, just kill them. That's a banger idea. But Utah didn't do that. They did something crazy. They gave every chronically homeless person a home. What the f***? That's not the American way. The American way is that if you are having a hard time in your life and you find yourself without a home, literally no roof over your head, then we send police officers around to beat you with sticks. If they don't have a stick, they'll beat you with their body cam. There are plenty of options. I think that's common sense. That's how America works, how we've always done it. But back in 2015, Utah wasn't doing that. The state provided apartments to the chronically homeless and worried about addressing the underlying causes such as drug abuse later. And this approach of giving them housing at nearly no cost and giving them a caseworker to help them was working. It eliminated 91% of chronic homelessness. Man, it's horrifying. It's unclear whether anyone was beating these people with sticks. It's running around going unbeaten. It's tragedy. Or stealing their blankets and telling them to move along and leaving them there with their blankets. That's called Marxism, okay? As far as I know, I don't understand that term. So what did Utah do when they had nearly ended long-term homelessness? They got rid of the program. Who needs it, right? I'm sure homelessness didn't go back up once they got rid of the program. Checks notes. Homelessness shot back up when they got rid of the program. And that includes among children and the elderly. Well, I may be in the minority here, but I think it's a good lesson for children to learn how to make coffee out of a clump of grass in a gym sock. These are life skills. Where else are they going to learn them? So let's review. 2005, Utah unveils a plan to end chronic homelessness. By 2015, chronic homelessness has been nearly eradicated. By 2017, Utah has shifted away from the housing first policy to one of police abuse. 2024, homelessness in Utah has surged again. And 2025, Trump okays the first forced labor camp for the homeless in Utah. That's a hell of a feel-good story right there. But let's remember why these people are being punished. It's because they're really, really bad at capitalism. Like the worst. They suck at it worse than the New York Jets suck at football. And if you're going to suck at capitalism, you should probably be in prison somewhere. Because to do anything else with these people would be to act as if a person's humanity matters more than their capitalist performance. And that's obviously not true. Putting humanity first as a lens through which all other decisions are made, yes, it would be the most moral thing to do. And yes, it would be the most ethical thing to do. And sure, it would be the most caring thing to do and the empathetic thing to do, blah, 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 blah. But would it make you or me richer? Nope, not at all. So that would suck. Some people also make a big deal out of the fact that a huge percentage of America's homeless are veterans. Trump knows, and he cares about them.
For a small fraction of what we spend upon Ukraine, we could take care of every homeless veteran in America. Our veterans are being treated horribly.
Yeah, he gets it. He said that before he won his last election, and then he got into office, and he did it. He took care of the people who served this country. Or maybe the U.S. Veterans Agency lost thousands of core medical staff under Trump, and the Trump administration plans to cut 80,000 employees from Veterans Affairs. Well, I'm sure that won't impact the help veterans are getting at all. There won't be anyone in the offices anymore, but no biggie. It'll be just one of those self-checkout machines from the grocery store and a 19-year-old intern. That's it. Let's see if they can get help for the 55-year-old ex-Marine with half his head missing, who every time he hears How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees tries to stab anyone standing nearby. I'm sure he'll get the help he needs. Anyway, here are some important things to avoid mentioning if you ever find yourself writing for the mainstream media on the topic of homelessness. Number one, there are 15 million empty homes in the United States. None of them must be used to house people who need a roof over their head. Those homes must remain empty or capitalism collapses and the Viet Cong pour over the hills. Number two, tens of thousands of military veterans are homeless in the U.S., but we still thank them for their service by giving them a free can of chili every Tuesday. Number three, on any given night, around 1.2 million children are either literally homeless or semi-homeless, sleeping on someone's couch, for example. Those numbers don't clarify whether it's like an awesome, clean, L-shaped couch or like a Dorito dust-filled broken lazy boy from 1997. We have no idea. Number four, More children live in homelessness in America than live in the states of South Carolina, Alabama, or Louisiana. Number 5, it's illegal or partially illegal to house the homeless in 48 of the 50 U.S. states. If you were to help out a homeless person for just one night, capitalism would collapse and the Viet Cong would pour over the hills. Are you starting to get it? And should I mention that 93% of people own their own homes in China? Absolutely not. I will not talk about that because that would be considered rubbing it in, and we do not rub in things on Unredacted tonight. Have I been saying all this out loud? Shit. We can all admit, this is a crazy world. It's getting crazier by the minute. Like, it used to be that when someone was facing you and talking, they were talking to you. Now you don't know if they're talking to the Bluetooth in their ear, smart glasses, or their dog, which has called them on its own phone to ask for treats. So I thought it'd be a good idea to look into what kind of impact our screen device-heavy world has been having on us and our children, the most impressionable of the things we care about, second only to our crypto investment advisor. So I did some research, and it turns out living on screens is not impacting our children poorly at all. They're totally yeah, I can't believe you bought that. But no, yeah, it's not good. Research has shown a correlation between increased screen time and increased levels of depression, anxiety, and other mood disorders. Depression? Anxiety? Mood disorders? Holy shit! And it's even worse for the young people. One study found that adolescents who spend more than 5 hours per day on digital devices are 70% more likely to have suicidal thoughts or actions than those who spend less than an hour a day. 70% more likely to have suicidal thoughts and actions? Jesus Christ, that's no way to live. They should kill themselves. Like, I meant that metaphorically. I meant they should delete their TikTok accounts, which, let's be honest, for them, it's a fate greater than death. If you don't have a TikTok, then you're essentially dead. And what about the really young kids? Higher screen use in ages 3 to 5 is linked to lower white matter integrity in language and literacy tracks associated with weaker language scores. When they say lower white matter integrity, I assume they're talking about stuff that matters to white people, like tuna tartare and streaming 30-year-old episodes of Mad About You. Oh, it means your brain. White matter in your brain. That's the good part. Nobody likes the dark meat of the brain. It's gamey and dry. What's that? Stop talking about brains. I don't know anything about them. I still haven't gotten over the fact that it could cause mood disorders. I mean, that's mean. They're being mean. Point being, this does help explain why so many of our children seem like sociopaths. They're all staring in the middle of distance, unfazed by anything adults say or do. Perhaps they're unfazed because they can't even understand most human emotion. Basically, we've used the digital world to create little robot morons. So can it be undone? Is the question. Well, a study has shown that 5 days at outdoor education camp without screens improves preteen skills with nonverbal emotion cues. Just 5 days? That's all it takes? Basically, in less than a week, their little brains go, I guess I should figure out what the hell these so-called humans want and why they're always annoyed with me when I'm staring at the back of their eyeballs and wondering why I can't swipe their face away when I'm bored. Why are you still talking? Stop it. But it's not just children. This stuff impacts all of us. We all have a device that makes us smarter in that we can look up any information in the world in 1 second, but it makes us dumber in that it makes us dumber. Another study showed excessive screen time can reduce attention span, decrease creativity, and limit problem-solving abilities. For example, yesterday, I was trapped inside this trash can for a while because at first I tried to get out by going upwards, but there was no path out in that direction. Then I was about to try the other direction, but I got distracted, forgot which way I had already tried, so I tried going up again. This went on for the better part of 2 hours. Eventually, I got tired, sat down to take a break, and had to look down to see where I was sitting. At that point, I saw some sunlight coming in from down below, and because I'm smart, I knew daylight, escape route. Nailed it. But let's get a second opinion on the harms of this screen apocalypse. Let's go to our man on the street, Skip Meyerson. Skip, what are you hearing from people out there? Skip? Skip, can you... Okay. We're either having technical difficulties or he doesn't give a f. We'll come back to him later. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting confirmation he doesn't give a f. Can you hear me fine? So that's good. Let's move on. Is there any good news about the screen apocalypse? No, but there's more bad news. I got that for you. In extreme cases, excessive screen time can even lead to addiction, such as internet gaming disorder, which is characterized by an uncontrollable urge to play video games. It's not an addiction. I can quit anytime I want, but not Monday through Saturday, because those are my gaming days. I won't have time to quit on those days. And sometimes Sundays. Depends on whether the open sores on my ass cheeks are acting up or not. Believe it or not, you don't even have to be using your phone for it to make you dumber. A study has shown the mere presence of one's own smartphone reduces available cognitive capacity, kind of like Meghan McCain or Jake Tapper. Just their presence makes you dumber than tree sap. Evidence shows that the mere presence of consumer smartphones can adversely affect two measures of cognitive capacity: available working memory capacity and functional fluid intelligence. Well, not for me. My fluid intelligence is pretty good, though. I can see a spot on a sweater or the drapes and know instantly nacho cheese or semen. Don't even need to think about it. Anyway, point is, our devices are harming our brains and our humanity, even when the thing is just laying on the table. Another study found that conversations in the absence of mobile communication technologies were rated as significantly superior compared with those in the presence of a mobile device. Above and beyond the effects of age, gender, ethnicity, and mood, people who had conversations in the absence of mobile devices reported higher levels of empathetic concern, higher levels of empathy, caring about others, which is kind of the most important thing we need right now on this planet as we destroy each other, destroy our future, and destroy our ability to survive. But it's not just our phones that are decreasing our empathy for fellow humans. Studies show antidepressants lead to reductions in neural responses to pain empathy. And other studies show acetaminophen, such as Tylenol, reduces positive empathy. So if you're taking Tylenol, a few antidepressants, and have your phone out on the table, you could kick the shit out of your own friend, not even care. No wonder this whole country's going down the toilet. We're all hopped up on empathy reducers. They should be called give a shit deadeners. I feel like that's kind of important to put on the label. Sure, your headache will get a little better, but your cousin could get ass cancer and you won't care. Kind of important. So what are the solutions? Well, don't give your kid more than an hour of screen time per day unless you want to create a psychopath. Okay, that was an exaggeration. If you give them 2 hours per day, you'll get a psychopath. You give them 90 minutes, you're probably just sociopath, which in today's society, that's totally fine. In fact, if you want the kid to really kill it at capitalism, you should aim for sociopath, you know? Those are the ones that really do well. Just try and hit that sweet spot, like mostly sociopath, but calls his mom on the weekend. You know, just thread that needle. Second solution, even adults need to learn to navigate the world more without screens. See if you can talk to people more often in person, like IRL. See their eyes and emotions, feel what they feel. Don't try to swipe their face away when you're bored by them. People don't seem to like that. Get in touch with your community. This will also help fight fascism and help you survive natural disasters. Because when your area floods, you can call up the next door neighbor and say, hello, fellow human. Remember when I looked at your face while I talked with you for upwards of 3 whole minutes? Well, now I need you to do a favor for me. Finally, I can't stress this enough. Grab every smartphone you see and smash it while yelling, "Not this time, digital overlords!" People might not like that as much, but it's for the best. For even more solutions to this problem, let's check back with our man on the street, Skip Meyerson. Skip! Skip! Can you hear me, Skip? Yeah, he can. Okay, he can still hear me fine. Awesome. This. And here are your headlines from the future. In 2 days, you'll read, CIA, a little ashamed Hurricane Melissa did more damage to Cuba than they have recently. Well, they should be ashamed. And coming up in 1 year, you'll learn J.D. Vance gives speech to middle school about how they too can get ahead with hard work, a billionaire backer, and ambivalence towards ethics. Nice to see him being honest for once. And in just 1 month, we'll find out Attorney General Pam Bondi clearly just using press conference to promote her Pam Bondage adult toys. Is that really a worse use of those press conferences than before? Finally, in 6 days, we'll learn White House employee accidentally put candle in Trump's mouth on Halloween due to pumpkin resemblance. I think we have a photo of that. Yeah, there we go. I don't think that staff member's to blame here. That's an easy mistake to make. That's the show. But real quick, I'm performing live stand-up comedy in New York City, December 12th at the Cobra Club in Brooklyn. I'll be joined by Jonathan O'Donnell and Anders Lee from Redacted Tonight. $10 tickets at tinyurl.com/Lee Cobra Club. That's Lee Cobra Club. Hope to see you there. Plus, a lot of people have been enjoying my weekly columns over on Substack. You can subscribe for free at realleecamp.substack.com. The revolution will have laughter. Keep fighting.